Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to touch on something I did last night, which was to talk to a friend to get out of a toxic relationship. Actually, um, she struggled there for probably 7 years with somebody. I wouldn't give more details, but you can see because she told me and she asked me questions that I really don't understand, but I know as a scientist friend, what I can help her with is something really useful, like based on okay, so the question is, so we start. So I put some of the chats into the you know into the chat GPT and ask, how is there any practical way to help this person? And he said, so first of all, she said, all I'm looking for is that person with no violence. I'm really disappointed when I meet someone and it's not like him. I guess this person, like he's her ex, was somehow my ideal type, and I can't get over him. No wonder why it took me so long and I wasn't able to quit the relationship. But I want to get over him. It's killing me. I can't live like that all my life. So let's start with the analysis behind, because what's interesting is the what's happening in the brain actually. So first of all, so of course I picked words to I didn't cast everything. It makes so first of all it says gently separate the person from the fantasy, because she's grieving who she wanted the person to be, not who he actually was. So you can help her notice that by saying something like, it makes total sense that you miss the good parts, but the version you want isn't real. He never existed without the violence. And normalize what's the trauma bound withdrawal. And it's interesting, her words, I can't live like that all my life, are classic post abusive attachment withdrawal. So I was like, what's the, because this is I think it's a term, right? Even me, who read a few books of neuroscience, wasn't so sure. So post abusive attachment withdrawal. So I was like, what's withdrawal? It's like, look, what ChatGPT was doing was that what you're feeling is not weakness. It's your nervous system unwinding from the trauma bound. It feels like love, but it's actually withdrawal. So I was like, what the heck? What's unwinding and what's withdrawal? So I directly went down to ask what's, so I copied this sentence and I asked what's withdrawal here. So first of all, trauma bound withdrawal is your brain missing the cycle. In a toxic relationship, especially one involving fear, unpredictability, or emotional highs, the brain becomes chemically conditioned to the cycle. Stress to relief, fear to safety, tension to affection. This cycle releases dopamine. So look, the chemicals inside explained the cycle. So because you have the cycle, it releases dopamine, adrenaline, and cortisol, and your body get used to this pattern. And when the relationship ends, your brain suddenly loses the intensity, the emotional spikes, the dopamine rush after the conflict, the illusion of relief or reconnection. So it's an illusion of reconnection. Anyway, so why it feels like love, and it actually really feel like love, it later explained because I asked. So withdrawal feels like craving, like so. And I was like, what? But physically, it's not love. It's nervous system craving the familiar emotional roller coaster. Still, why it hurts so badly? Where is the thing that regulated my emotions, even if it hurts me? It creates symptoms like anxiety, depression. So it still feels plain for me. Like it creates rumination, maybe something like what I experienced too. The key point: your friend isn't weak or here again. I wasn't sure what the chat was talking about, so I was asking, what's unwinding? Unwinding here means slowly releasing tension or calming down from a state of your body was stuck in for a long time. Think of it like this: nervous stays tight, always alert when you are in the fear, stress, confusion, emotional intensity. When the relationship finally ends, the nervous system doesn't immediately relax. It slowly unravels. Honestly, it feels like after your PhD is finally finished. And especially if you are not staying there for postdoc. Okay. It slowly unravels like a tight knot loosening, a spring that was compressed, finally releasing. Wow, let's forget about this. So, more specifically, unwinding is a body trying to return to normal after too much stress or emotional intensity. And of course, I didn't take all this. I was like, too much list. Why do you have to list this? And it didn't caught my eye that much. So I usually scroll down. I don't use the voice that much, especially when it replies, because my eyes can filter what I want to read. Easy way to explain it. Yeah, this caught my attention. Your body learned to live in stress mode. Now it's over. Your nervous system is slowly loosening all the tension. Process feel painful, but it's actually healing. What? But where did she said the drugs? Because it's okay. So I put, she said, so being fine is not enough for me. I need the dopamine, the ups and downs. What she means physiologically, being fine is not enough. She's describing addiction to intensity, not addiction to the person. And it's very interesting. So chemical intense peaks feels like love, passion, or connection, but the body experiences like just dopamine hits. Which means a calm, healthy relationship feels flat in comparison if she always compares it. And it's automatic for sure. Not being it's boring, but because her nervous system hasn't healed yet. So how you can respond, blah, 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 blah. I don't think I took this. I took one that makes sense. I think I asked ChatGPT several questions before I finally gave her. I need drama to, if you want deeper explanation to share with her. Intensity, yeah, here you go. Here, it's something that caught my eye. Intensity based. I was using my phone to do this, and here I'm just pressing the button to let you look at what the chat history was. If you want a deeper explanation. So, intensity-based attachments release. Here's the explanation. Dopamine is a reward. Cortisol is the stress. Adrenaline is the fear and excitement. So, adrenaline is excitement. Actually, let me put it in my... Dopamine is a reward. Cortisol is stress. Okay. So this mix is like drug. So that's withdrawal, because basically it's a drug. It's so interesting. Yes, I think I copied this to her, and she apparently, of course, she knows that I use ChatGPT. Sometimes I actually tell her a lot how I learn from ChatGPT. So no wonder she just answered, "That's it." Yeah, I'm not showing the chat, but the convo with her, but she said, "That's it. He's my drug." I'm like, my drug taking friend. She's like, but so it's withdrawal. So when you withdraw from an addiction of a drug, the drug, which in here is the intensity of life, like all the chemicals, that spur in your brain and body, not actual desire for chaos. But yeah, so then later, like, she was like, am I in love? I really think I'm in love with him. This is another question I can't answer. Like, what if I say, you're not? Or I think you are, or don't care about it. I think all of this are not good answers, So that's why I still keep on asking here, because I really need to know more about what's going on in like neuroscience and so on. So here's the cleanest, the compassionate way. I was like, damn, I didn't finish my question. So I stopped here, and actually, yes, she wasn't. Because I stopped here because I suddenly, I wanted to answer. I wanted to analyze it first, but then I stopped here because I suddenly remember in the past, like, I think 4 or 5 years ago, when we were friends, well, when I was still doing was I still doing a PhD? I don't remember. But I suddenly remember that she wasn't in love because sometimes she calls me and said, I don't find him attractive at all, actually. So I remember that there were like, I even told her herself, like, you should take note of what you feel every time and track, so you can have. I also remember sometimes I called her, I was like, come on, if you look at the track of your thoughts, you will find that you are not in love. I think I remember I told her before about this. So she was like, haha, interesting. But what went on later, it doesn't matter here. So let's just focus here that I remember when she called me and said. And after this, of course, afterwards, when they came back together for the moment, she told me she's so happy and so on. She missed that moment so much and so on. So yeah, so her comments on the guy was like this, but she wouldn't remember. So I didn't even want to tell her, remind of this again, because that's what I did years ago. Why now, if I tell her again, does it really work, right? I need to find a way that actually helps. I don't want to just type in something that I thought of, and she understands it because she knows I'm a busy mom. And so, actually, yeah, she wasn't. So that's what I put. The detail is very important. Honestly, explains everything she's feeling right now. It's like, wow. When someone says, I think I'm in love with him, but during the relationship, they repeatedly said something like, I don't even find him attractive, blah, blah, blah. It almost always means she is not in love. She's grieving the bond, not the person. This distinction is huge. Okay, I'm so done with the ChatGPT language. They put this. They're so trained to put the language that I can so easily see this pattern in a lot of LinkedIn posts that I don't even. I mean, but yeah, I do that too. So no judge. I'm just saying, when I see this, like, this is huge, blah blah blah. I'm a little bit like inert about it. Like, I don't want to read it. I just want to see what's gonna be explained. So if she wasn't attracted before, the love now isn't love, because what she is feeling is withdrawal, trauma bound, chemicals settling, idealization, nostalgia for the imagined version, grief, loneliness, craving intensity. This is textbook trauma bond confusion. Trauma bonds are weird. When it's happening, you feel numb, irritated, repelled. When it ends, you suddenly miss them, but only the imagined version. Here you'll notice there's the imagined version, and sometimes people cannot distinguish imagination and their real experience. And this is established in neuroscience, and I actually found it so universal to so many people. And actually, sometimes I can observe that in myself too, a little bit less, because I keep track. And especially if you do experiments, you remember the results, and then you keep analysis based on your memory, and then suddenly you check back and you found that's not what you remembered. That I have, but not that much. But I keep on checking back, so I have certain tracks of how often I do that. Anyway, so I'm just saying, it's very common. People modifies their memories based on their imagination. So as to the intensity, we don't know. So this is something I cannot control, but I do have memories of when she said it's not interesting, that guy actually blah blah. Sometimes, only sometimes. And most of the time she's in pain of breaking up again for the I don't know how many times. So she's not in love, she's in intensity withdrawal. She misses the dopamine, the highs and lows, blah 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 blah. Of course, it's repetition. Her brain is rewriting history to reduce pain. If I pretend he was amazing, it hurts less than I lost him. So it deletes bad memories, amplifies good memories, invents imaginary potential, and so on. A sentence you can say to her, but I'm not sure if I used it. No, I didn't say it. I just keep on checking what is really going on. But pretty sure she's addicted to the sex. Yeah. That actually fits perfectly with everything she's saying. Yeah, I Yeah, according to my memory, you can be addicted to the sex, the intensity, the chemicals, without loving the person at all. And that matches her history. She didn't find him attractive. She didn't feel a real emotional connection. She didn't want him long term. She wasn't excited about him romantically. But chaotic, intense, inconsistent sex can create a neurochemical addiction even when there's zero genuine compatibility. Why sex can feel addictive in toxic relationships. In high intensity one, while there's those emotions and experiences, this explains why calm feels boring. If she's used to all those chemicals, yes, it's boring. What she really missing isn't him, is a chemical spike. Okay. And then this explains blah 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 blah. And this, so I didn't understand the fifth point. Why she is idealizing him now. I was like, she's idealizing. So I copied this part and asked again. So yes, what she is feeling is real, but it's not love. It's blah 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 blah. And is it very common? I was just asking, is it very common? Yes, extremely common. The brain literally doesn't distinguish. Intense sex is not equal to love. Because neuroscience shows that dopamine plus adrenaline plus attachment hormones can create a feeling identical to being in love. And this is very important. That's the key. Oh my gosh. And even if the person is wrong for you, all right, trauma bonds. Sexual intensity happen in thousands of relationships. Okay, so idealization after breaking up is very universal. When a high intensity one ends, the brain tries to protect you from shock by deleting the worst memories, exaggerating the best ones, and rewriting the story as more romantic, and so far, and so on. So professionals see it constantly. And then I scrolled down. Actually, this person used to have, yes, because I'm one of her best friends, so I know she used to abort an embryo, one with that guy. Do you think there's any chemistry effects? I asked this question because I have certain postpartum depression, and I thought that abortion is similar to the process of giving labor and delivering a baby. But so that's why I ask, is it possible if she's having some postpartum depression for so many years? And the answer is no. It's sensitive and important. She cannot have postpartum depression for years if she never gave birth. She could be experiencing post-abortion grief, traumatic grief, or unresolved attachment trauma, which can last for years if never processed. I was like, what's if never processed? Well, yeah, forgive me if my English is really not that good. Yes, pregnancy loss affects brain chemistry, that's for sure. Even an early pregnancy develops hormonal changes involving all like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all those chemical or pathways. Attaching, I'm just scrolling down because I think it's repeating. Attaching the pregnancy to the relationship can create a phantom emotional bond. And this is extremely common. A pregnancy, even if unwanted at the time, often creates symbolic meaning, an imagined future, a deep emotional link to the partner, a sense of what if, and here's important, subconscious attachment. So it can be really subconscious. And because pregnancy, no matter lost or not, because pregnancy symbolized safety, family, belonging, future, meaning, identity. So years later, when the relationship ends, the grief can reawaken because she just told me about it when she was playing with my daughter. Because I don't remember whether she told me before or not, or I didn't really pay attention. Yes, the grief can reawaken the unprocessed loss of the embryo. This can feel like I love him, I miss him so much, I can't move on, he was special. This can absolutely last for years if never processed. So the word process appeared more than twice, or twice, whatever. But this does not mean she has a psychiatric disorder. It's not postpartum depression, but there is a known phenomenon which is post-abortion emotional dysregulation. I was like, wow, emotional dysregulation appeared again. I was like, she's dysregulated, but at least she's explaining it, trying to explain it, and trying to talk, like really talking to friends. That's the good part of her. All right. Could it amplify the trauma bond? Yes. Pregnancy loss can deepen the emotional imprinting, make the partner symbolically meaningful, intensify the withdrawal, but we don't know. So I copied the symbolization part and I ask because I was like, are you imagining something? I don't know if it's true or just somebody's narrative, This is proven in neuroscience. Yes, neuroscience. So yeah, always ask more clarify questions whenever you want. Give the specific detail in mention and ask. So yes, neuroscience and psychology both support this pattern. And also psychology, but it's not as simple as pregnancy loss is equal to you miss a partner. Pregnancy triggers powerful attachment and meaning-making systems in the brain. If that process is interrupted and never hear another word type, another 2 times process, never emotionally processed, those attachment pathways can get stuck. And it attracts me a lot because I have a lot of trauma in my life, though not with my current relationship. That's why it's very interesting for me to understand what's emotion processing. All right, those attachment pathways can get stuck, and years later, it can still reactivate during a breakup. Okay, so pregnancy activates deep attachment circuitry. And here, even early pregnancy increases all this chemical it mentioned. When a pregnancy ends, the physiology stops, but the brain's emotional meaning does not automatically reset. Yeah. So, yeah, breakup and trigger, yes. According to psychology, every event can trigger, especially big like this, right? And neuroscience is backing it up because they are providing like what's happening in the chemicals or in the pathways and so on. So let's not read it. And so I'm just asking what it's talking about. What's attachment memory system? So attachment memory system is not one single organ in the brain. It's a network of regions and hormones that work together to form emotional bonds.